Many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. Then he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just 3 of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from us. Like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, "Do you like my house?" I said, "Of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste." He said, "Now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it." At that point, I just pulled away and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate President too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, "Oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel." He has a chapel in his house as well. So when we were going to the chapel, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikot Ekpene. And my husband asked me, "Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What's he telling you?" I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I looked to my right and my husband wrapped his arms around me and he said, "My love, you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate President tell you?" Again, I was like, "Don't you believe me?" I said, "Nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy." Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate President's house because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, after office to get approvals and all that.
Please, there is this popular song that Idris Abukari sang in the year 2002. I can't remember that song now. I can't remember. But I don't know if you remember it. Please, drop it on the comment section. Drop the name on the comment section if you remember it. But I know he sang that song when he thought Nigeria don't spoil. He never knew then Nigeria was still heaven. Please, if you know the name of that song, drop it on the comment section. You see, nothing remain. Nothing, everything done that. Anything, everything done back, everything. You see this video, I'm not going to say anything. Just watch it. Because the truth is that if it is in a civilized world, if it is in a country that is working well, believe in me, what we are talking now is not what we should be talking about. Senate President. Anyway, I said I don't want to talk too much. Please, just watch this video, then drop your comment on the comment section. I still want somebody to remind me that song, Idris sang that song in the year 2002, right? Yeah, 2002. Please, if you know it, drop it on the comment section. But for now, please, watch this news. Then you see what is happening. This one is a tip of what is happening in this country. Watch it.
And going straight to your first question, which is the allegations, the petition against me by a certain northern group, which has to do with the conduct of my office as the chair of the local content committee. I would first say that the allegations are baseless, but as they are hampering on my integrity, I am glad to throw some light on it. The first allegation there was on the misappropriation of the funds in the account and withholding the interest, as it said. I would like to say this, that when I resumed as chair, I have the bank statement here. It's the Sterling, it's an account under the name Senate Committee on Local Content, and the account is with Sterling Bank, and the account number is 0066208209. And when I resumed as chair of the committee, the account balance was zero. And then gradually, at the time I handed over to the next chairman, the account had 13,649,335 naira and 4 kobo. And I will say this: the first month after my resumption, the clerk of the committee, whose name is well listed there, probably the lady who is behind this petition, Mrs. Edith Aja, she approached me in January and said, oh, the first month's payment has gotten in. And I was like, what do you mean by that? She told me that every month, every committee in the National Assembly receives 950,000 naira as running or operational costs. And so that I said, okay, what is the money supposed to be used for? She said, it's for logistics, mail dispatches, whenever refreshments for meetings that we have, and all that. I said, okay, so if 950,000 naira has hit the account, we are yet to call for any meeting, so I think leave that money there, or is there a problem? She said, yes, the trend or the norm is that if there is no event or happenstance that utilizes the money, we are supposed to share the money. I said, how do you mean? She said, the money is usually shared. I, as a chairperson, I would take a part of it. I will give some to my deputy, and the rest of the money will be shared amongst the staff of the local content committee. And I was like, did you say that is what happens? She said, yes, that is what my predecessor did, and that is what happens in all the committees in the National Assembly. I said, well, you know what? That money, if it's meant to service the operations of the committee, it's not meant to enrich my pockets. It's not meant to enrich the pockets of the staff. I would not want to collect this so-called impress. So I would advise that you keep that money in the account, and we build the money, we use it for whatever it's needed. If we have to buy office equipment, print stationaries, then we use that money. And I promise this, and the bank statement is here. Anyone who has access to it, I have called the account number. You can check. We have gradually built the account. We use there was a time I approved money last year for the purchase of a printer, because it made no sense that we kept on spending so much money printing outside. I was like, you know what, let us have a printer in-house. We bought a printer. We also have printed lots of materials, but basically the money, I never took a kobo out of that in the name of impress. I never gave my deputy then, who is Senator Ede Dafinone, any impress. He can verify and attest to that. Neither did I allow any of the staff to take any money, because that is taxpayers' money, and the money was meant to service the office. Now, the second allegation there is that, oh, but by the way, it would impress you to know that ever since I left office, the money has been withdrawn by the clerk. About 5 million was withdrawn. And 2 days after my removal again, 4.9 million was withdrawn. So as at today, okay, the bank, that account that had 13 million has only 123,000. The sitting arrangements. I walked into the chambers that morning. I signed my attendance sheet, and I was walking straight to my usual seat, which is the last seat by the door, like at the topmost last seat by the aisle. So, and then I was told by one of the sergeant at arms that, oh, ma'am, that is no longer your seat. You are now sitting at the far end there. And I was like, since when? They said, well, that's what the Senate president instructed. I was like, I was in chambers yesterday, which was Wednesday. I've not been notified. Why did you change my seat? what reason? I'm comfortable here. I'm okay here. I wasn't notified to that. So I was upset. And then I said I refused to move to the new seat. I don't even know what the new seat is. I don't even know the number. I don't know. But they told me it was the last seat, appointed the last seat at the far end. So then the procession came. The president walked in the seat, and then the rest was shown online. I was already told, by the way, that I should gently move. Some senators messaged me that I should please adhere to the change and move to my seat because that was a trap, a setup. And I was trying to understand what trap, what setup. At that point, the minority leader, Senator Abamoro, walked up to me and he told me, Natasha, please just obey, just go to that seat. And I'm like, no, sir, you are my leader. You should speak for me. I am not aware that my seat has been changed. And I believe I should be given a chance. Maybe they should explain to me why my seat was changed. Maybe I can also explain why, if they could maybe consider leaving me here, that I'm not moving. He said he pleaded with me that I should please move to the other seat and not explain that we could address it later. And I said, sir, I have hit these chambers. I have complained and you have witnessed several of my privileges, me being maligned several times, and you never stood up for me. So no, I am not moving there because I do not trust that if I move, this matter will be addressed. So I am going to raise it on the floor. That was what I told my leader, who is the leader of the minority, Senator Abamoro. And then he walked. So after that, I was about to be, then the minority whip now read the rules that I have broken the Senate rule by not adhering to my seat change.
Allocation,
and that was when, at the time the Senate president was about to read my seat allocation. At the time the Senate president was about to read, because the next thing he was going to do was to read my suspension because I failed to adhere to that. But he had already made some statements that, Senator, the whip was, hold on. The whip,
yes, it's just that we have to manage.
Already had mentioned
Senator
that
Natasha, yes, ma'am. I'm so sorry, but we have to manage our time. And part of the question.
Okay, so you might. So at that point, I knew I had to read Order 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to read Order 10. Now, what is Order 10? Many people don't understand. So now, Order 10 is is an SOS for every senator who feels their rights and privileges have been breached. So and permit me to quickly read what Order 10 here means. Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege had been committed. Now here it is. It does not say I cannot read that order in that place.
Right.
Whenever a senator feels that their rights have been stifled upon, I have the right, even if I'm laying on the floor, wherever a senator is in that place. This order book does not say Order 10 should be read from a particular seat.
Okay, Senator Natasha, let me come in here.
I have no right to speak from that seat,
Natasha.
I should speak from my new seat.
Yes.
The Senate President aired. Hold on, please. This is a very important point.
Okay.
The Senate President himself made a mistake by not allowing me to speak on that Order 10. In February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it. Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before my motion is taken, the time will be well spent and won't. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. And I said, Senate President, you know how important this Ajakuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it. I was like, sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed. Then it was listed a 3rd time and stepped down. He then said, Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy. At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this. He said, well, the ball is in your court. I left his office, and when I got home, I told my husband, I didn't tell my husband what happened. I just told my husband, please, can you speak to the Senate President to allow my motion scale through? I think I also spoke to the DSP, to the leader, Senator Pemi. I spoke to a number of senators that they should please intervene and allow him to laugh. I never told them what happened. My husband had to take a trip to London. Then the Senate President traveled to London. My husband met with the Senate President in London and pleaded with him, let my wife take this motion on Ajakuta. That is very important to her.
Okay. All right, Senator
He now
Natasha.
said, okay, that he did not take it because he was protecting me. Hold on, please. He didn't take it because he was protecting me. Protecting me from what? Anyway, at the time my demotion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barrow, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barrow that...
So what do you think? Drop your comment on the comment section. Thank you very much. God bless you.